Hello everyone, you're watching PC Helper and welcome to another video in the Python 3.9 tutorial series. If by the end of this video you feel like you have learned something today, then please leave a like and also don't forget to subscribe to PC Helper for regular content. So in this video we'll be talking about three functions in Python, that is filter, map and reduce. So in the last video we talked about lambda functions in Python. But to understand the real importance of lambda functions, we will use filter, map and reduce. In the last video we used this program to understand lambda function, but let's just comment it out here because we'll be making a new function. So, oh my bad. So first of all we have to make a list to understand filter, map and reduce. So let's name our list num and it is a list of numbers. So let's just enter a few numbers, let's say 12, 15, 7, 3, 22, 50, 44, 99, 6, 2 and 101. So this is a list of numbers and now I will simply print this list to see if the output is correct, and here it is. Oh my bad, I just wrote 4 here. So when we will execute this program, as you can see, this is a list of numbers. Now let's just say we want to filter some items of this list. And by filter I mean, let's say we just want to get even numbers out of this list and make a new list out of all the even numbers. Or let's say we want to get all the numbers which are greater than 10 and make a list of those numbers. For that we will be using filter function. And to use it, we simply have to first of all name a new list. So when we will apply filter function, after that we will get a new list. So we have to give it a name. So let's give it the name 10 plus. Because what filter will be doing is, it will just give us the numbers of this list which are greater than 10. After this we have to write list because we are applying filter to a list. After it we have to write filter, and as you can see on your screen, it will receive two arguments. It will take a function and will take a iterable. So iterable in this case is this list named num. So let's just first of all write a comma and write the name of a list, that is num. And in this first argument we have to write a function. So first of all we have to make a function. So let's say we have to make a function which will return the numbers which are greater than 10 only. So let's say greater 10, I'm just naming it greater 10. It will have one argument n, and what it will do is it will just return numbers greater than 10. So if n is greater than 10, then it will return true value. So here we can write, here we have to pass a function, so the name of our function is greater 10, and we do not have to include brackets here. So that's it, and we can simply print 10 plus. And now when I will execute this program, you can see that our first list was this one, 12, 15, 7, 3, 22. But in the second list, we filtered out all the numbers less than 10 and we only have a list of numbers greater than 10. Because how it works is, when it will go to this num list, when we wrote the name of our iterable num, it one by one accessed all the items of this list. So first it went to 12 and it checked if 12 is greater than 10. 12 was greater than 10, so it returned true, and 12 was a part of this list. After it went to 15, 15 was greater than 10, returned true, so 15 was part of a new list. But for 7 is not greater than 10, so it returned false, so 7 was not a part of this list. But the important thing to note here is that we won't need this function greater 10 after we have used it in this list 10 plus. We won't need it any further in this program. So we can just erase it, and we can simply make a lambda function here. So instead of defining a new function for this operation, we can just write lambda n greater than 10. That's it. Instead of writing a new function for this process, we can just, if you haven't watched my video on lambda functions yet, you might not know that how a lambda function works. So my last video was on lambda functions. Do watch it. And if you understand lambda function, you can get that we have a lambda function with argument n, and it will return numbers greater than 10. And now when I will execute this program, you can see the output will remain same. We have a new list of numbers which is greater than 10. It will only include the number greater than 10. So this is how filter works. And instead of n greater than 10, we can write anything. We can write, let's say, n less than 10. So now we will get a list of numbers which are only less than 10 in this list. We got 7, 3, 6 and 2. So we can apply any operation to this filter. So it will filter out a list that we want. Now let's talk about the second function of today's video, which is map. So the difference between filter and map is that we use filter to get a list of specific items from an already existing list. Whereas a map function is used to apply a change to all the values of an existing list. So let's say we have a list of this, we have this new list named 10 plus, and let's just change it to n greater than 10. So we have a list of numbers greater than 10, and we want to subtract 10 from all these items now. We know that all these numbers in this list is greater than 10, but now we want to subtract 10 from all these items. For that, we'll be using map. So a map is used to apply a operation or make a particular change to all the items of an existing list. So let's see how it works. So first of all, we'll be again naming a list. So let's say sub 10, because we'll be subtracting 10 from all the items of this list. And again, we are operating on a list, so we will write list, and instead of map, we'll write filter. Instead of filter, we will write map. As you can see, it will also take two arguments, a function and an iterable. So we know the name of our iterable here is 10 plus, because we'll be operating on 10 plus here. 10 plus, what am I doing? 10 plus, here it is there. And the name of our function is, we can simply write a lambda function which will return n minus 10. So now it will go to this list named 10 plus, and what it will do is it will subtract 10 from all the items of this list, and we can simply print sub 10. That's it. And now when I will execute this program, you can see that 12 minus 10 is 2, 15 minus 10 is 5, 22 minus 10 is 12, and so on. And we can make any change like this here. Let's say we want to multiply all the items of this list by 2. So when I will execute it, you will see 12 2s are 24, 15 2s are 30, 22 2s are 44, and so on. So now we know about map function and filter function. Filter function is used to get a list of specific items out of an already existing list, whereas map function is used to make a change in all the items of a list. So we had this list initially, so we used filter to get a list of numbers which are greater than 10. After filtering out numbers greater than 10, we wanted to make a change to all the numbers of this list. That is, we want to multiply all the numbers by 2, or we can say we wanted to subtract 10 from all the items of this list. So we used map function. Now let's talk about reduce function. But before talking about reduce, we should know that by default reduce is not a part of Python. So we have to import it from one of the modules. So you have to write from func tools, because the name of the module is func tools, and from this module we want to import reduce function. That's it. So now we have imported reduce from func tools. Now let's talk about reduce. So by the name only we can get that it is used to reduce a list or an iterable. So in this case, let's say we have this list sub 10, and we want to calculate the sum of all the items of this list. So for that we can use reduce, because we want an output which is a reduced output, because it will calculate the sum of all these numbers, and the output would be one number which is the sum of all these numbers. So in that case we will use reduce. Even if we want to calculate the sum of all these numbers, even if we want to calculate multiplication of all these numbers, for all that we will use reduce. So let's say we want to calculate sum of all these numbers. So we have to again name a list. Let's say total. And in this case, we don't have to write list. We simply have to write reduce, and reduce will again take two arguments, that is a function and a sequence. So the name of our sequence is sub 10. So we will write sub 10. And once we have written the name of our iterable, we have to define a function. So one thing we can do is we can define a function and then name that function here. But what we'll be doing is we'll be using a lambda function, and what it will do is it will have two arguments. But to understand it in a better way, let's just first of all talk about how we will approach if we want to make a function. So for adding two numbers, we will make a function named, let's say, sum, and it will have two arguments, a and b, because to add numbers we should at least have two numbers for addition. And what it will return is, it will return a plus b. So it is a simple function of addition. And then we can name the function sum here, and we will get the desired output. So now you might have an idea how to make a lambda function for the same. So we can simply write lambda, but in this case we will need two arguments. So let's say a and b. We will write a colon, and what we want to do is we will simply add a and b. And now we can simply print total. So we can write print total. And now when I will execute this program, you can see that this list is reduced to only one number, which is 233, and which is the sum of all the items of this list. But still a lot of you might be confused about what's the working of this reduce function. So for that I have an image, so let's just open it, and I will just reduce its size first of all. And now let's see how it works. So this is the working of reduce function. At first step, first two elements of a sequence are picked and the result is obtained. So in this case, first of all 2 and 5 were picked, and the operation was adding these two numbers. So we got 7 as an output. After it, next step is to apply the same function to the previously attained result. So the previously attained result in this case was 2 plus 5, 7, and the number just succeeding the second element. So now it will add 7 plus 12, which will give the output, the next output, which will be 19. After that, this process continues till no more elements are left in the container. So this will keep executing till there are no numbers left and the final written result is returned and printed on the console. So what do you mean by this third statement, that is the process continues till no more elements are left in the container? It means that for addition we need two arguments, but once it adds the total of all these numbers in 91 and when we get the value 233, we don't have enough arguments to process this function. So ultimately it will print the final output, which is 233 in this case. And we can do anything like we did addition here. We can just calculate the subtraction of all these numbers, which will be equal to 229. We can calculate multiplication, and this is the output. And this is just not limited to this simple addition and multiplication. We can do some cool stuff like, let's say, a multiplied by a, which is the square of a. And if we want to, let's say, subtract b from the square of a, so our output would be equal to this number that we got. So we can do all the cool stuff here. So today we talked about filter, map, and reduce. Filter was used to get a list of specific items from an already existing list. And map was used to apply a particular operation on all the items of list. And lastly, we talked about reduced, which helped us in reducing our list to, let's say, sum of all the items of a list, differences of all the items of our list, or any operation. It was used to reduce the size of a list and get a particular output. So I hope you get it. Now you understand filter, map, and reduce. If you have any doubt, you can write in the comment section. If you like this video, then please leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.